Nelson, congratulations on doing such a great job on your business X-ray. You don't get to see too many of these, but I get to see them on a regular basis. You did a great job. If it seems like we're going over a lot of information, Nelson, in a short period of time, the reason it seems that way is because we are.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
no worries. You can call us anytime, even 10 years in the future. You have a question on your X-ray, anytime, that's all included in it. You have a question on the X-ray, something doesn't make sense, you need any input on it, we're happy to help you. You can give us a call or, shoot us an email or whatever you want to do.
Mhm.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Excellent. Do you have any questions before we dive in?
Well, I mean, yeah, I looked this thing over, maybe not as thorough as I should have. One of the things, which I had talked with Cheryl, I believe, on that this morning, that some of the small writing was fuzzy enough I couldn't make out everything. So, and I think she made you aware of that or whatever.
Yep.
So, but I'll try. I think I can follow along pretty good on most of the stuff is bigger writing, but it was maybe some of the like the additional personal note stuff I couldn't really make out very good or whatever. But yeah.
Yeah, no worries. We'll go through, everything. I tend to talk kind of fast. You can, slow me down. If you have a question at any time, you're free to go ahead and just interrupt me and say, "Hey, Mark, I have a question," or I don't understand it. And so you're free to do that. Is your wife able to sit in on this or not?
No, and unfortunately it didn't work out. We were our schedule today to take a meal in for a needy family in our church. So
Okay.
she's preparing that. So that didn't work out. But otherwise, she tells me always she likes to hear what I have to say or whatever. So I think she's comfortable if I tell her what I learned or whatever. But yeah, I guess hopefully that works on your end too.
Oh, totally. Yeah, it's totally up to you. We always love to have the spouses on, but they don't have to be on. So whatever, we know people are busy and kind of going through it. So let's go ahead and dive in, Nelson. And if you take a look at the upper right-hand side of the business X-ray, that's the different phases. And you'll see phase 2. Do you see that?
You mean like the pie? You're talking about the pies, right?
Yeah. Yep. The pies. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so you'll see up there the number $1,207 a week, or 188,235. Do you see that number?
Yeah.
So congratulations, Nelson. That's just awesome. That's great. Good work there. You might say, but Mark, that's how much money I'm losing. Why is that great? The reason, Nelson, is what it's showing us that a lot of the success, most of the success you've had in your business is because you work hard and you're good at what you do. Now, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong, Nelson, with working hard and being good at what you do. The only challenge is you're going to end up owning a job rather than owning a company.
Okay.
Make sense?
Well, what you're saying is basically what I'm trying to do is trying to stay ahead of my job instead of being in the front of the company. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly right. Yeah. It's like, when you own a company, it's supposed to run without you. Like, it's supposed to not require you. It's supposed to be easier than a job. It's supposed to, and so, but most business owners, honestly, they don't. So they own a job rather than a company. having a company is harder. It's often harder than working, a job and you make less money. Like, why would you do that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So there's something inside of us business owners, us entrepreneurs, it seems, where we'd rather die in the jungle than live in the zoo.
Okay, okay. Yeah.
So if you look at the panels where it says, so there's panel 1, through panel 9, those other printed pages.
Oh, yeah.
So on the panel 1, what's your biggest challenge or problem? Albert Einstein said you can never solve a problem on the level it was created. What does that mean? It means we create our own problems. And what that means is we create our own problems based on how we think. So one of the hardest things for a human being to do is learn to think differently than what they do. So your minimum income goal is 102,000. Your WOW income goal is 144,000. What's the difference between those two numbers? Like, what's going to get you to the 144,000? It's learning to think differently. So sometimes people ask me, Mark, what do you do for a living? And I laugh and I say, I'm not sure. But when you find out, tell my wife, because she's wondered for that for 33 years. So
Okay.
sometimes I say, I'm really a mental chiropractor. But we're really architects or engineers. And so what we do is we architect and engineer what's called a BOSS system, a business operating system. You'll see that in panel 6. I'm sorry, in panel 5.
Oh, yeah. The engine that runs our business.
Yeah. So the BOSS, the business operating system, is the engine that runs our business. We earn the money we earn, work the hours we work, have the stress we do or don't have because of that engine in our business. And so the 144,000, where does that come up with? That's kind of your gut feel, or it might be the Holy Spirit leading. I mean, it comes from somewhere, not necessarily in the mental, like I planned this out. It's just a feeling that I have that I could do that. So the difference between our WOW income goal and our minimum income goal is what's called a subconscious gap. The same thing is true with how many hours, you're working 48 hours and you like to work 40 hours. So if you had, Nelson, better systems and tools, if you had better systems and tools, you'd earn more and work less. Make sense?
Well, yeah, yep. I mean, I guess I kind of realize that's how you talk, and I guess that's what I'm listening to find out what you think changes that or whatever. So, yeah.
Yeah. And so there's 3 elements. If you look at panel 6, there's 3 elements to the BOSS system. There's the DNA for people, DNA for business, and then DNA for life. So the DNA for people is what's called personality masteries. It's the ability to identify somebody's personality in 17 seconds. And then once you identify the personality, their strengths, weaknesses, what they like, what they don't, turns them on, turns them off. If they're married, who they're married to, types, conflict in the marriage, that person better than they know themselves. And so this is helpful for a business owner with employees. It's helpful with customers. It's helpful with vendors. Essentially, any human being in your life, this can be very helpful to help you to be able to better communicate, better understand them. Makes sense?
Yeah, definitely. I guess just to insert there, uh, when I worked for Dad, our customer counter was about 10 feet away from the front door, and now since I've got my own business, the counter's about 20 feet from the door, and I always say I can better see what kind of personality the person has by the time he's by the counter at 20
Nice,
feet than I could at 10 feet, you know.
nice, nice. That's absolutely true. So what this does is it takes it even to a higher level, it takes it to a higher level, um, where you're able to understand even more than what you could by looking at them.
Oh, okay.
Make sense?
Well, yes and no. You
And we'll
mean,
get into that a little bit more later, so you don't have to really
okay.
understand kind of big picture thoughts. This next one is the DNA for business, which is the 530 grid. We'll cover that in just a moment here. And then the third is going to be the DNA for life. These are natural laws. There's over 500 of these natural laws that govern business. So as we
Mhm.
understand these
Mhm.
natural laws, we're going to go ahead and see greater success.
Mhm. Okay. Mhm.
And so one of these natural laws is the cluster principle. So the cluster principle states that individuals that are making buying or selling decisions on average will make between 3 and 9 other, they'll know 3 to 9 other people who are interested in making that same type of decision. So first time home buyers, they know other first time home buyers. People who are Amish know people who are Amish, English know English, people who are young couples know other young couples, people with large families know other large families. We as human beings tend to cluster together.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
And so what that
Mhm.
means is every one of your clients, every one of your customers could refer between 3 and 9 other people if you had the right systems in place. They could refer
Mhm.
between 3 and 9 other people to you over the next 6 to 12 months.
Mhm.
That's just
Mhm.
one of the 500 natural laws.
Okay. Mhm.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Mhm.
If you go to panel 9, you'll see the 530 grid.
Okay.
There's 5 areas in every business, doesn't matter what kind of business you have. There's 5 areas in every business. Um, and so in area 1, marketing, it's how do you generate more and better leads? In area 2, once you get a lead, what do you do with it? So area 2 is pre-sales.
Mhm.
Area 3 is going to be the sale. That's the yes or the no.
Mhm.
Area 4 is going to be servicing. How do you create a raving fan experience? And then area 5 is going to be client or relationship for life.
Mhm.
Make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. It kind of does. Yeah. Um.
So how
Maybe
many, how
I
about
always.
you? Sorry, go ahead.
I guess I always looked at it in a three, and maybe the 1, 3, and 5. Maybe in the 2 and the 4. Why? Or maybe just there, and I didn't think about them or whatever.
Yeah, what
Um.
happens is when you have 2 and 5 or 2 and 4, 2 and 4 give you greater definition of the difference between pre-sales and sales, or service and
Mhm.
client relationship for life. And so by breaking them out into the 5 areas, you're going to go ahead and be able to better see where there's gaps in your business. Make sense?
Yeah, sorta. Yeah.
So, and you'll see there's 6 levels of proficiency in each one of the 5 areas. So if you went ahead and had $1 million in sales, would that give you the $144,000 in income?
Well, that depends if I use the same formula of selling the product. I'm guessing, if you follow what I'm saying.
I do.
If
So if
I,
you
if
use the same
yeah,
formula, that would give you it?
I would guess, yeah,
Okay.
that would be another quarter. That would be another quarter mil on top of million on top of what I'm getting. So I'm guessing. Well, that would depend. If I'd have to add more workers to achieve the million. That would depend on a lot of stuff. Too.
Yeah. And that's where
How
it's
much I'd have
important.
to advertise.
Yeah,
That would
that's where,
yeah depend on how much my income, my cost and my overhead would go up. I guess. Yeah.
yeah, and that's where you're talking about a bunch of cool things. At least I think they're cool. Other people get intimidated by them, but looking at those numbers before we do it, not after we do it, because you think you're going to make more money if your sales increase, your top line, so your top line is your sales, your bottom line is your profit. But people, more than one person have gone from 750 to $1 million and they actually make less money. That really stings because now
Hmm.
you're working more hours potentially, and there's more risk and you're not making as much money. So that's where
Right.
that's where the systems. And so, in the $1 million in sales, you may have 4 out of these 5 areas at $1 million, but if one of them's only at 250 or one of them's only at 750, you're only going to do 750 in sales. So it might be fairly easy to get you to $1 million in sales, or it could be really hard. Makes sense.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
But going back to the business X-ray, if we go down to phase 3, halfway down on phase 3, you'll see how much you're worth on an hourly basis, which is $391 an hour. Do you see that there?
You said phase 3.
Phase 3, yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Then halfway down, $391 an hour. Do you see
Okay.
that there? Worth per hour?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Did you know, Nelson, that you were worth, $391 an hour?
Well, um, probably depending which customer I ask, very likely. um,
Right, right. Well, right, print this off and, and circle it and highlight. And if anybody wastes your time, you can just say, hey, I'm worth $391 an hour,
okay. Mm-hmm.
And so what we do know, Nelson, is what we do know is that there's things that you're doing right now that are not worth $391 an hour. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So from this day forward, what we want to do is we want to eliminate, eradicate, totally wipe out anything that's not worth $391 an hour. So another one of the
Okay.
natural laws is what's called the 5 time management freedom fighters. So if you look at phase 3, upper right of phase 3, where it says phase 3, just go a little bit to the right and you'll see the 5 time management freedom fighters. Might be small, but it's delegate, systematize, contract out, hire someone, or partner with someone.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So there's 6 ways to do something. You can do the work yourself, but if you do the work yourself, you end up owning a job rather than owning a company.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what we want to do is we want to go ahead and always look at, do I systematize, do I delegate, delegate, systematize, contract out, hire someone, or partner with someone, or some combination of those things.
Mhm.
Make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. What was that number 3-1? I can't read that. Oh, contract out.
Yeah, contract out. So it's delegate, systematize, contract out, hire someone, or partner with someone.
Mhm. Mhm. Yep. Mhm.
Questions?
Well, I mean, obviously, contracting out uh, wouldn't be probably, yeah. The first two probably is the ones that would benefit. I mean, the most in the business or whatever. Is systemize and or delegate and systemize or whatever. Which of course delegate would only work if I hire someone. So I guess four would yeah, I mean, you know, if I wouldn't have anybody working for me, obviously I wouldn't
Well, you've always
um
got your wife and kids, right?
yeah, I got my wife and kids, and I got 2 workers at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's why, so there's a whole bunch of different ways to do things that, I've got 3 degrees in business, 3 college degrees in business. And you know what? I don't know how much they helped me, honestly, but they didn't teach me how to do any of this kind of stuff. So there's a whole bunch of ways you can get something done. So if something doesn't work one way, you can take another approach or another approach. And so it's a bunch of things that, you can't find on the internet. You can't read in a book. You can't go to a seminar or workshop. Can't find it in any college. There's a bunch of stuff you can
Mhm.
do that you don't even know.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, let's go up to phase 2, lower part of phase 2. You'll see the 7 systems that need to be implemented. Do you see those?
Yeah. Mhm.
There's 4 questions that people ask about those 7 systems. And so the first question is, they say, Mark, I can see how I need to go ahead and implement all 7, but where do I get started? Which is a good question. So it's not always the case, but it's often the case. It's number 2.
Mhm.
So it's business planning, coaching. Why is that? It's just like building a house. You want to get a good architectural plan. If you don't get good architectural plan, so businesses don't have somebody come in and develop an architectural plan, which is why they often struggle, because we don't have a good architectural plan.
Mhm. Mhm.
Make sense?
Yeah. Yep.
The second question people ask is, they'll say, so Mark, how do I go ahead and develop all 7 systems from, how do I develop all 7 systems if I don't have a lot of extra time or money? So what we have found is, get the first system, Nelson, get the first system up and going, get it making you money and saving you time.
Mhm.
Once you
That
get
would be
the
prospecting, or you
Well,
mean
it
the
could be
business?
no, it wouldn't be that first system. It could be any one of the 7 systems. So it could be number 2 or whatever.
Oh.
But whichever one you choose as the first system, get that first system that you choose, get it making you more money and saving you time. Take as much of that money and as much of that time and invest it back into building a second system. Once you get 1 and 2 up and going, then you invest that into 3 and 4. Once you get 1 through 4, you invest it into 5 to 7. And before you know it, you have all 7 systems built from your very first system.
Oh, okay. Mhm.
Whatever
Mhm.
you do, don't steal time or money from your business and just get 1 or 2 systems. You got to get all 7 of them. If you quit before you get all 7, it's like having a car with 1 or 2 pistons. It's not going to go very fast, very far, very long. you got to get all 7 systems built.
Mhm. Mhm.
Make sense?
Mhm. Well, did you want to explain exactly what OS7 would stand for? I mean, you kind of said what number 2 stands for, but
Sure.
um,
So prospecting system, that's going to be a combination. If you look at the 530 grid, that's going to be primarily area 1 in your 530 grid. Now it's more, a good plan will pull out prospects from all kinds of sources. There's more than just area 1, but it's, definitely area 1 plus others. Number 3, your
okay.
client development system, that's going to be area 4 servicing.
Mhm. Mhm.
Referral development, that's going to be, it could be client for life. It could be area 1 marketing. It's kind of integration of all of those 5 areas.
Oh, okay.
Third
Mhm.
party endorsement system, that's going to be specifically in the, typically it's mostly going to be in the area 3 sales. And you get other people endorsing you, referring you.
Mhm.
Phone
Mhm.
calling system, that applies to everything. And we'll get into that in a little bit more detail here in a second. But that one you're going to do with, referral partners, with current and past clients, all 5 areas can be phone calling. And then relationship mailing or marketing system, that's going to be area 1. And it's going to integrate into area 4 actually too.
Oh, okay. Mhm. Mhm.
And so the third question people ask is, how do I get the most out of these 7 systems? And what you do is when we architect and engineer these for our clients, we architect them and engineer them not only for you, but you can share them with other businesses. So the average person on the street knows 250 people. The average business owner knows over 5,500 people. So when we help other businesses grow their business, our business grows. As our business grows, their business grows. Together, we truly can accomplish so much more than we ever could on our own.
Mhm. Mhm.
Makes sense.
Mhm. Yeah. Mhm.
The fourth question people ask is to say, Mark, do I need to go ahead and, reinvent the wheel? Do I need to build all 70 of these systems on my own? And the answer is no, you don't. The 3 that are highlighted are ones that will often architect or engineer. So at the end of today's coaching session, if you have any questions on any of those, more than happy to go ahead and answer that for you.
Okay. Mhm.
Makes sense?
Mhm. Yeah. Yep. So what you're saying, you would offer, your company would offer like a business planning coaching or a referral development or a relationship mailing,
Yep.
which you're calling Action Vision or SAM or Maxis.
Yep.
Um,
Exactly. Yeah. You got it.
mhm. Mhm. Yep.
Got it.
Yep.
All right. Let's go down to phase 4. This is where the numbers get a little bit, I think I can make them out, but I might not be able to. We'll see. Some of them I can, some of them I can't. I can work on, see if we can get a little cleaner copy for you here, but I think I can read them. It's not the first number that makes a difference or the second, it's the difference between the two. So for example,
Mhm.
on your life balance, I think you said you were a 4 maybe, and you'd like to be a 9. And so you'd like to improve that by 125%. Personal discipline, I
Mhm.
think you said a 6 and a 10. So you'd like to improve that by about 80%.
Mhm. Mhm.
Going down through here. Good, good. Good on your marriage. Excellent. Good. So avoiding procrastination, I think you said a 3, you like to be in an 8. So what those are, is like if individuals take the next step, which is not always, but often it's going to be action vision. So it's helping business owners discover their life vision, why they were put on this planet in the first place. Like, why did God create you? What does he want for your life to be? Then what we do is we architect and engineer a boss and an engine for your business that not only helps your business make a lot more money, a lot more profitable, working less hours, but it also is a critical ingredient to why God put you on this planet. Makes sense?
Yeah. Yep.
So when we design and architect a plan, it's not just to make you more money. It's not just to, have you work less hours, but it's to fulfill your purpose, on this planet. So if you go to phase one, you'll see that there's different colors. And so yellow is far below potential, green is below potential, red is average to good, blue is great. So most of your phase one is going to be yellow with a little bit of green. You might say, Mark, it looks like I'm far below potential. Why were you congratulating me? So again, Nelson, what this is showing us is that, the reason you're successful is because you work hard and, and you're good at what you do. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. So imagine if you had, it's almost like having a buggy that's being pulled by a horse. Your horse is not pulling and you're having to pull the horse too, or a car that's not running. Like a business, if you have it based on systems, the business will do the heavy lifting more for you. So every year you'll make more money and every year you'll work less hours.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Makes sense?
Yeah. Mhm.
Questions?
Well, yeah, I that the pies there, I think I kind of somewhat understood somewhat, because you had your pie dimension, your targeted and your detailed or whatever, and you kind of detailed it out into different, like, 3 or 1A, 2A, and 3A, and then,
Yep, you got
uh,
it.
uh,
So 1A is going to be your in-person to your referral partners. And so you got a green there. So you're doing better than some of the others. And 1C, you're doing, green there. So that's your direct mail or mass outreach to your referral partners. And 3B is going to be your phone calls to your prospects. So what this does is it helps us to see like a lot of coaching companies or consulting companies, they just come in and they just say, you should work with us. We don't do that. Like we don't invite anybody into coaching, into Action Vision, unless we understand their business and we understand what we need to do to help them get what they want to, where they want to go. And we feel confident we can do that based on the information we have.
mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Makes sense?
Yeah. Mhm.
Good. Good. All right. And then let's go ahead and look at phase one, test two. And so test one, you test out as a 1 in the ball and a 2 in the wavy line. So this goes back to the personality masteries. So based on that
Mhm.
test, one of your greatest strengths would be your concern, compassion for people.
Okay, what's the wording right by number 1? I can't read that.
Amiable. So you test
Amiable.
out as an
Okay.
amiable personality. Number 2 is an expressive. Number 4 is a driver. Number 3 is analytic.
Mhm.
And so in
Mhm.
this test, you test out as an amiable expressive. In test 2, you test out as an analytic amiable. So when I combine everything together, you test out as an amiable, analytic, expressive. So that's a complicated personality. It's a chameleon personality. So one of your greatest strengths is your flexibility. One of your weaknesses is your flexibility. One of your greatest strengths is going to be your concern, compassion for people. One of your weaknesses is your concern, compassion for people. One of your greatest strengths at times is dot the I's, cross the T's, make sure things are done properly in order. And one of your weaknesses, one of your greatest strengths might be, your energy, excitement, enthusiasm. You have a million ideas. One of your weaknesses, energy, excitement, enthusiasm. You have a million ideas. So it's a complicated personality, not bad. It's just complex. So there's probably only, I don't know, 7% of the top business coaches in the world that know how to coach this type of personality. Again, it's not bad. It's just you have a big engine in place. And so somebody who's coaching you needs to understand the complexity of your energy bases, because if they don't understand that, they could give you advice, good meaning advice, good intention advice, but that advice could hurt you dramatically if they don't understand your personality.
Mhm. 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 Mhm.
Make sense?
Well, sorta, yeah. Uh, um, yeah, I do realize that some of my strengths and my weaknesses are kind of the same or whatever. I would say I was subconsciously aware of that or whatever. Yeah.
Cool. So let's go ahead and look at big picture, look at phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and phase 4 all at the same time. You'll see that as you get out there, you'll see that the colors start getting darker. The darker the color, it represents that your business has more systems in place. And so it's like an engine that's fine-tuned, that's running well. An engine that's not running well, it might still run, but it's going to take a lot more work on your part to get it done. So you need one more phase to get to solid blue. Solid blue is where your business could be sold for the most money because it runs without you, or you could have an annuity and just have it running without you. And and then you could just have an annuity where money just continues to come in either way. So normally, Nelson, it takes between 3 and 5 years to go between each of the phases. So to go from phase 1 to 4 or 5 normally take a business, 15 to 25 years if they can ever do it. Many can't. So what we like to do is when people go and take the next step, the action vision, if they take that next step, our goal is to help you do that in 2 to 4 years. Is that a better time frame, Nelson?
Well, if I guess my thinking would be if the customers don't if the customers would start feeling this isn't the same business they've walked into all these years, why then that would be too rapidly, I guess, or whatever. But
Well, that's one way to think about it. Another way to think about it is they say, this is the business. This isn't the business I've walked into for the last number of years. This is a way better business.
yeah, that'd be the other way to look at it.
Right. I'm gonna send all my friends here. I'm gonna come here more often. I'm just gonna hang out. It's so much fun. Like so you're right though. You're absolutely right. You don't want to build a business faster than it's capable of keeping service to the clients, but that's kind of a given with anything we design or develop. The customer is going to be served as well or better because of the systems and the tools. Make sense?
Yeah. If the customer, I guess that's my top concern always
For
is
sure.
that the customer gets served well, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Always. So as promised, Nelson, we've gone over a lot of information in a very short period of time. So what questions would you have for me? It could be on the 3 dimensions, 9 major areas, the 7 systems, the 4 phases, the 40 areas of business and life. Could be, what's your next step? What questions would you have for me?
Well, I mean, you said something about the natural laws. and I'm still trying to. It says 3 energies: see, think, and do. I guess I don't think we really exactly went into depth on that one. I'm still not quite sure. I guess if you wanted to.
Yeah, I can give you some more on that for sure. So there's the law of gravity. So that law
Mm-hmm.
says that you step out of an airplane, you're going to die. Sometimes I
Mm-hmm.
explain business owner, these are natural laws, they govern. God's the one that put them in place. I didn't, I just discovered them and being able to go through it. And so in if like halfway down they jump out of a plane and halfway down they're like, Mark, I'm not dead yet. Like, well, it's not yet, but it's going to happen. So that's a natural law,
Mm-hmm.
the law of gravity. There's the law of the parachute.
Mm-hmm.
The law of the parachute doesn't negate it just reduces the impact of it. So there's over 50 of these or over 500 of these natural laws. So if you
Mm-hmm.
go back to panel 2, if you go back to panel 2,
Mm-hmm.
you'll see some of these natural laws. And so, like the walls of opportunity. So there's always 6 ways to, there's what's your biggest problem? There's always 6 ways to overcome any problem. The people
Mm-hmm.
often stop after 1 or 2, they give up or they accept it. On panel 4, this is what's called the next dimension principle. So the next dimension principle states that, what's a higher number, a 2 or a 9? Most people think a 9 is a higher number because we think in 1 dimension. That's the dimension we're in. So 10 is not perfection, 10 is masteries. It's mastering a
Oh,
specific,
okay.
it's mastering a specific dimension. It's not perfection. It's mastering.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get to a certain, it goes back to the more we know we don't know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So once you hit a 10, you go to the next dimension. Well, a 2 in the next dimension is higher than a 9 in the previous dimension. So again, there's over 500 of these. Probably you get tired or worn out, and we'd probably be talking for over a week on these. So what happens is if people take the next step and go into Action Vision coaching, all of these things, they're trained and incorporated into their coaching experience and their plan and the systems.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's natural laws. The natural laws, these things are the governing. Like, for example, you could have oil in the back of your property. There could be millions and millions of dollars of oil. But if you didn't know it was there, it wouldn't do you a bit of good at all.
Mm-hmm.
If you knew it was there, but you didn't know how to extract it or turn it into money, it wouldn't do you a bit of good either. You knew it was there, knew how to get it out, but you didn't have the systems in place to get it out, wouldn't do you a bit of good. So these natural laws, like you have the instinct that you can get to $1 million or a million in sales. So you have instinct. So your subconscious is great at telling what you're capable of, but it's not good at telling you how to do it.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's where coaching comes into play. It's where systems and tools comes into play to make sure, okay, so here's your intuition, whether you believe it's just a gut feel intuition or God, telling you, hey, you have this potential.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so it's being
Mm-hmm.
able to understand, well, how do I do that? Like, how do I
Yeah.
get to my million? And how do I get to, working, 40 hours, a week versus 48 hours a week?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so, when you look, over at the phase 4, stress, you're at a 6, you'd like to be at a 2. So you have 300% more stress in your life than you'd like to have.
Mhm.
Your
Mhm.
life balance, you're at a 4 and you'd like to be at a 9. I'd like to improve that by 125%. Your time management. Like I own 9 companies and I have an extra 20 to 30 hours of free time a week.
Mhm.
Like most people have one
Mhm.
company, they don't have any free time. So how do
Oh
I have
yeah.
how do I have an extra, how do I have 9 times as many businesses as, an average business owner? And how do I have all this free time?
Mhm. 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 Right.
So it's based on systems. It's based on understanding the natural laws. It's based on having the systems, the knowledge base, the wisdom, and being able to do that.
Mhm. Mhm.
Make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. You're definitely you're talking in a language I can mostly understand. I mean, there might be some that I have to think I might be on the same page as you. I'm not 100% maybe sure always, but yeah, I think I know
Oh, you're
what you're
tracking really
talking.
well, Nelson. Um,
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't even understand what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I
Yeah.
mean, I think I
Yeah. Well.
understand, but then in another month or two, God reveals something to me, and I'm like, I thought I understood that, but I didn't understand. When you look at, so there's like it's an onion, there's layers.
Mhm.
And so it's
Mhm.
just a matter of dimensionally understanding things. So you're tracking well, but yeah, and again, as soon as you track better, there's more to better. That's there it just continues. God continues to reveal more and more stuff to us.
Mhm. 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 Yep.
All right. As any other questions or anything else, Nelson, we can do to help you today in any way?
Well, I mean, yeah, you basically yeah, I kind of agreed to a 30-minute strategy call, and that was very informative and actually
Good.
got my mind thinking in different directions. And then I did the business X-ray. And now you explained to me how this, the different stuff here. Um, I'm not saying that I totally understand everything, and I could, explain it to the next person as good as you explained it to me. Uh, but I definitely, it definitely brought out some interesting, just a couple conversations I had with you, some very interesting and important aspects that I think I was missing, in maybe maybe in connecting my life with my business or whatever. So yeah, I guess I think you definitely thoroughly brought it across to me. I definitely thought I'd like to try some of the ideas that we've run into across the the last 3 phone conversations I've had with your company or whatever. Um, yeah, about referrals and about trying to streamline my business so I don't maybe manage me as much as I try to more than I manage it or whatever. That's probably
Right.
where it's easy. By doing nothing, I think the business manages me, whereas
Right.
um, trying to implement some very simple techniques might change that aspect of yeah. One thing you said, trying to eliminate the stuff that isn't worth as much. Um, that's probably one of the things I struggle with is not thinking outside the box on some of the things that if it's not really making me any money, why am I doing it?
Right.
Um, so yeah, I thought definitely it's very interesting. Now, you'd said the first conversation you said I'm a very coachable person, but you really don't feel that I necessarily need to be under a coach or whatever. And I definitely, but you were saying something today about maybe doing a little bit coaching. I wasn't quite sure if you meant I should be coached after all, or what
Yeah.
you meant by that, or what.
Yeah, great question. And when we do the 30-minute strategy session, we have an idea.
Hmm.
Like we have an idea, is somebody coachable? If they're not coachable, we can still do the business x-ray if they want us to. But
Hmm.
we're not gonna have them go on Action Vision. So it's not even an option if they're not coachable. It just,
Yeah.
it's not gonna work for
Yeah.
them. Like it's just not, they're not
Yeah,
ready.
you can lead a horse to the water trough, but you can't make it drink, huh? Yeah.
But we are learning how to put salt in the oats.
Oh, okay. 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 Okay.
So, haven't figured that out totally. Ginger Ann's mother-in-law is the one that first introduced that to me 15 years ago. And I'm still working on that because human beings are a little more complicated than horses, it seems like, and a lot more stubborn at times. And so, like, what's the salt? It's like they need their own special flavor of salt. So yeah, we don't know. We can't recommend whether somebody's in coaching or not before we do the business x-ray. Because it's not just their
Hmm.
coachability, it's a whole bunch of things. So based on that's your coachability, your personality. I like you too, and Ginger Ann and others know that I don't like everybody. If I like you, I'm like, huh,
Oh, okay.
yeah, that's fun. I mean, I love helping anybody, doesn't matter who they are in their business. But if I like them, I'm like, that would be fun to, help that business, that individual. So I think that you would be a good candidate for Action Vision. So what we'll do is we'll have Ginger Ann send you over information on that. Information. There's different levels of Action Vision. Big picture is there's two parts to the Action Vision. There's the 12-month plan. We develop a 12-month plan and with the tools and systems, and then there's the coaching. So there's an initial investment up front to develop the plan and all of that type of thing. And then there's a monthly investment. There's
Hmm.
different levels. And so kind of an individual, a manager or a leader, and then there's the executive. So the
Oh,
higher
yeah.
the level, it's not more work on your part. There's more tools and systems, and you're going to go faster. You just
Hmm.
will. And so,
Hmm.
um, we don't want people to invest into a level that's too high for them. We don't want people investing or paying money into something that they're not going to get the full value from.
Hmm.
Likewise, we don't
Hmm.
want to give somebody too little either. It's like a motor. You don't want too big of a motor. That doesn't do you any good. But you don't want too small of a motor either.
Right. Right. Yep.
And so
Yep.
you want just the right one. And so what we can do is Ginger Ann will go ahead and get you over information. You can print that out, study it out and then we can schedule another time because you probably have questions on that. And then you'd also have questions maybe on the x-ray too. And your wife might have some
Mm.
questions too on it. So we can schedule another time to answer any questions you might have on your x-ray after you get off today. Give you a little time to ruminate, think on
Hmm.
it, sleep on it. And then we can come back and answer any questions that you have on the x-ray and then also on the Action Vision too.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Make
Yep.
sense?
Yep. Yeah, it does. Yep.
Um,
Yep.
what time zone are you? Are you
We're in the Eastern time zone.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. And when would be a good time to go ahead and get together again?
Well,
Do something Wednesday or maybe Thursday or Friday morning?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. Wednesday probably won't work. Just trying to think. Yeah, I guess Friday maybe would be um.
How about Friday at 8 o'clock? Would that work for you?
Well, is there another time on Friday?
I can do 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. So I could do 8, 9, or 10.
Well, let's do a 9 o'clock. I usually Friday. I mean, the 8 o'clock is when I'm at breakfast with my wife and children. So I guess I really don't want to disrupt that if I don't
For
have
sure,
to.
you're
So.
not going to do that. I wouldn't even let you do that. Is
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. That's why I don't want to do it in Friday afternoon because that's not only my date night, but my date afternoon with my wife every Friday. So no, I totally get that. Is 9 o'clock okay, or does that give you enough time, or you want to
Yeah.
move it to 10?
No, I'm usually I try to be in the shop by 9 o'clock.
Okay.
Again, I usually come in early, then I go back in,
Okay.
and have breakfast once the children are up and about, and then
Yeah.
and yeah,
Okay.
yep.
All right. Here. Okay. We'll get that scheduled. Um, all right. And then we'll get that over to you and you can, again, you can, if you want to read it over, it'll give you different things. So, you can bring any questions. If you want to email me, you can do that. Or do you have my phone number?
Well, I got this number, Mark Bars, more ginger, and
Let me give it to you. So
okay,
my direct number is 630-393-9909.
okay,
And so if you have any questions or your wife has any questions before then, feel free to give me a call anytime. Love to answer any questions. Otherwise, we'll talk to you at Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern time. And answer any questions on the business X-ray and in Action Vision too.
again.
Okay. Sounds
Okay.
good, Nelson. Appreciate it. Have a blessed day.
Yep. You too.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye. Yep.
Yep. Bye.
All right, here.